What has Arkham Batman been up to post Arkham Knight? With Rocksteady's newest game Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League coming out soon-ish, I wanted to make a video about what we know, or at least think we know, what Arkham Batman has done since the events of Arkham Knight. This video is going to compile all the information of what we have seen so far of Arkham Batman after Arkham Knight, and while nothing is really concrete other than the fact that he survives, we can infer and put some things together. I also wanted to make this video before the new game comes out to see if I was right with any of this, and I might make an updated video once the game comes out when we actually get to see what he's been up to. So let's get started and see what Arkham Batman has been up to since his last game.
Look after him, Jim. Look after them all. You've been a good friend. The best I could ask for. You were there at the beginning. And now, you get to see how it ends.
Let's start with where Batman left off at the end of Arkham Knight. I know it's supposed to be this ambiguous ending for some people, but realistically, I think the ending was very clear on what happened, so I won't take too long on this part. At the end of Arkham Knight, Bruce Wayne made it look like him and Alfred died in a huge explosion at Wayne Manor, making people think he's dead, obviously. In the very final scene of the story, however, we see a mysterious figure save a couple in an alley from a couple of goons. Some people think this is one of Batman's allies, like Robin, but this is Batman, most likely using Scarecrow's fear gas against the criminals in Gotham. It was then ambiguous on what happened after that though, if Batman lived on as a new symbol in Gotham or whatever the case may be. We know that he's still considered dead to the public for a little bit after the game due to the DLC in Arkham Knight that establishes so. We see in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, however, that Batman is very clearly alive and well. Now, most of the evidence we get on what happens to Batman afterwards comes from the trailers and gameplay we've seen for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. However, there's one piece of media we can reference that has Arkham Batman in it that's not from the games, and it's this comic right here, Batman issue 135. I have a full video on my channel that goes in depth with this comic, but just to cut to the chase, the Batman in this comic travels to other multiverses to catch his version of the Joker, and each universe they go to that has a dead Joker in it actually comes back to life. One of the universes they enter is the Arkham universe, in which we see Arkham Batman once again after 8 years. Now, the canon of this comic to Arkham Batman's universe is questionable, since this would mean that Arkham Joker is alive again and so on, so that part's up for debate. What I wanted to show, however, was the dialogue and what Arkham Batman says in the few panels he talks in. He talks about how there's an itch, a voice inside him that always tells him to let the Joker die, and he also references the events of Arkham Knight, confirming this is post Arkham Knight. He tells the comic's protagonist to stop the Joker's coming back to life, but an interesting piece of dialogue was how he mentioned his life is over, and the way he looks defeated sitting on the chair. Not saying this comic and this Arkham Batman is canon, but as far as we know, we can go off on it until stated otherwise, right? And from what I gathered here, Batman looks defeated and a little sad, I would say, about his identity going public and having trouble coming to terms with it. It gives us a little bit more about his character, and it's kind of cool to see that it does affect him. It's not something that we won't ever see the aftermath of. So even if Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League doesn't focus on this particular aspect of his life or what happens after he reveals his identity, it's nice to see the little things that we got here. Now, let's get to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, where we can kind of piece together what happened to Batman post Arkham Knight. None of this is really confirmed, it's just what I believe, and we obviously won't know for sure until the game comes out, in which I'll make an updated video for, hopefully, when we get more information. So keep in mind, this game takes place 5 years after Arkham Knight. 5 years, a lot could happen in that time frame. However, it seems that at this point in the Arkhamverse, people know that Batman still exists and that Bruce is still alive. Just look at the way Harley talks to Batman here in his reveal trailer for the game.
Please, help me!
Hey, Bruce! Still using shadows to scare the crap out of us criminals, huh? Don't sweat it. Batman doesn't kill people.
First of all, Kevin Conroy will forever be the greatest Batman, and I'm really glad that his final performance will be with Rocksteady. Despite what people think about the game, I have full faith in Rocksteady that they will give his final performance justice. Second of all, the way Harley's reaction is here, it seems that Batman has been established to be alive for quite a while now, right? I mean, I could be wrong, and this could be the first time Harley sees Batman alive and well, and this could just be her typical Harley goofy reaction. But I'm willing to bet that this little interaction means that Batman has been established for quite a while now, and that maybe this is Harley's first time seeing him since Arkham Knight perhaps, hence her reaction here. She also calls him Bruce as well, which implies that people in general know that not only Batman's still alive, but that it's Bruce Wayne and not someone taking over the mantle. The biggest piece of evidence for this, however, comes from the ticking story trailer for the game. We see what appears to be the Hall of Justice with statues of each Justice League member, and we see one for Batman. The interesting thing about this is that Batman's statue is designed after his Arkham Knight design, which means that these statues had to have been made after Arkham Knight, or at the very least Batman's statue, which means one of two things. One, they made a statue to remember Batman in the wake of his death after Arkham Knight as a way to pay tribute to him, because remember, we have evidence all the way back in Arkham Asylum that the Justice League was formed before even that game, so this statue doesn't necessarily mean that it was built after he was announced alive, but maybe as a way to pay tribute. Or two, and what I think, these statues were built after Batman revealed himself to the world to be alive and well, and they made a new Hall of Justice design for him after the fact. If that was a little confusing, basically what I'm trying to say is that this Batman statue we see here shows us that Batman has revealed himself to be alive between this game and Arkham Knight, and people just know his identity now. Now, with all that said, everything else upon this point is speculation, and we don't have any other evidence at this point to show what else Bruce has been up to, but based on what we've seen, it looks like Bruce has had a bigger role in the Justice League since the last time we've seen him, considering the Hall of Justice with his Arkham Knight suit, and so on. It leaves a bunch of questions at this point though that I'm sure the game will answer, but as of now, are unanswered. Like, what happens to his allies now? Alfred, Oracle, Dick, Tim, Jason? If I had to guess, Bruce likely enhanced their security measures for their lives, primarily for Alfred anyway, since he is publicly known to be an ally of Batman's. He might be at the Watchtower now, wouldn't that be kinda cool? However, there is something we have to account for. In the State of Play trailer, we see that Argus, the organization in charge of the Suicide Squad, has a bunch of equipment from various superheroes and villains in the DC universe. We can see here though that they have some of Batman's equipment, including his Bat Drone, his Mark I grapnel gun, and notably, Nightwing's Eskrima sticks. So, based on this, I assume that at some point after Arkham Knight, Argus raided Bruce's home, possibly found his Batcave, and recovered some of his gear. I say this because of the grapnel gun being the Mark I version, meaning it's an earlier, possibly Batman's first version of the grapnel gun, right? Which I would think he would leave in his Batcave. Also, just as a little side note to this is just me, but in the Multiverse comic with Arkham Batman, it kind of looks like he's in a warehouse now or something in the background, right? I could be overanalyzing this part here, but I thought I would throw it in. Maybe Bruce found another secret base of operations. We've seen him have a lot of different ones throughout the Arkham games, so it's very possible. And then there's Nightwing's Eskrima sticks. Now this can be interpreted in different ways. Argus knows that Batman and Nightwing work closely with each other, so maybe these are just spare Eskrima sticks Nightwing had in the Batcave that Argus recovered. Or Argus confronted Nightwing at some point after Arkham Knight in Bloodhaven or Gotham and managed to take these from him. I don't know, I really hope it's not the latter, and I don't believe it is because Bruce wouldn't just activate the Nightfall Protocol without trying to keep his allies safe. This also comes with a possible idea that Argus or maybe even the public knowing Nightwing's secret identity if they put two and two together, of how Bruce adopted Dick Grayson, and so on, and creating a chain of events that lets them find out the identities of his other allies too, like Robin and Red Hood. Hopefully the game gives us more insight on this. I really hope his allies aren't compromised in any way because I personally wouldn't like a storyline like that. It has a lot of room to be messy. But we'll just have to wait and see and hope that the game answers this for us. But them having Nightwing's gear brings up a lot of questions on if Nightwing is compromised, if the public knows about him, or if Argus is just keeping this a secret to themselves. I think, however, that the most likely is that they raided the Batcave and recovered it, considering the Mark I grapnel gun they have, and not Batman's newest model he would be using. So like I said, hopefully they answer that. But as are not just Nightwing, but Robin and Red Hood, their identities may still very well be secret and they could also just easily defend themselves, so I'm willing to bet they're okay. There's also Lucius Fox, which I assume Batman has a plan to keep him safe as well if he needs it, and I'm sure nobody knows how Oracle works with Batman if I had to guess, so I think she's safe too. Just assume that with the Nightfall Protocol, Bruce had a plan to basically keep everyone safe that he worked with. It also leaves the idea of how Batman revealed his fate to the world. My guess is that it was a natural thing. I mean, between working with the League and still presumably patrolling Gotham, it was only a matter of time before people figured it out, right? Because if you think about it, how does people knowing who Batman is really affect Bruce's life? He's still an extremely dangerous super genius billionaire that can break your bones in a million different ways. Bruce can handle his identity being revealed. It's primarily his allies, in my opinion, that may be in danger, but I'm positive Bruce has contingency plans for that. I really hope they explain this in the game. I know it's not a Batman specific game, but I do think we deserve to get a well thought out explanation for it, considering up until this point, we've grown with only the Arkham games and Batman's universe. Or, rather than a natural reveal, maybe there was a big event that revealed that Batman's still alive. Maybe it was this game with Brainiac, who knows? It would be cool to see. Either way, not enough evidence at this point to know, but it's fun to speculate about. Let me know what you think about this. Okay, that might have been all over the place, so let's summarize. After Bruce's identity has been revealed, it's implied that it made him a little bit more depressed and confused on how to go about his life after the Nightfall Protocol, as seen in the Multiverse DC comic. Like I said, this may not be canon, but as far as we know, we can at least take the part of how Bruce feels about Arkham Knight and use it in this video. Anyways, after Arkham Knight, we saw that he uses Scarecrow's fear toxin to incorporate a new kind of fear into Gotham's criminals, showing that he still patrols and protects the city. Sometime after, however, people seem to finally realize that Bruce Batman is still alive. Unknown how, but some reasons could be due to just naturally being a presence until people caught on, or his involvement with the Justice League being the reason so, since we see a statue in the Hall of Justice with his Arkham Knight suit, showing that it had to be a recent design. A piece of evidence for this comes from Harley's reaction from seeing Bruce alive and well. Seems too casual for it to be the first time seeing him alive, so it's safe to assume the general public knows that Batman is still alive. It seems that between the 5 years of Arkham Knight and Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, Batman has had a bigger presence in the Justice League due to the Hall of Justice statue we see of him. Who knows, hopefully the game will answer all of these for us and more. And that's all I got. Thank you for watching. I wanted to make this video before the game came out because I think it's fun to speculate about, and it brings hype as well. If you agree or disagree with anything, please let me know in the comments. I love reading them. I plan to make an updated video once the game comes out anyways, so I wanted to do a kind of before and after thing. As always though, thank you for watching. I always appreciate it, and I would really appreciate a like, share, anything to support the video. But yeah, goodbye people.